I just wrapped up a studio rewire for a fellow engineer, producer, and newfound friend, Lauren Passarelli. It was a great week, filled with quality gear, good company, and tons of cables. It all transpired when Lauren's visit to my studio inspired her by how nice and tidy I kept things, from all the routing and patch points to how the console was designed. You can see more about that in some of my other videos, but let's get back to Lauren and when she gave me the call. Hey Lauren, what's up?
Too much spaghetti, too much cables, too much mess.
I'll be right there. I thought about some different layouts that could best suit Lauren's workflow. Once she approved, Lauren contacted Chris from Redco and ordered all the necessary equipment. She got a head start disassembling her old desk, building new sidecars, and positioning gear based on our floor plans. Once all the materials had been delivered, I hopped on a bus from New York to Boston, and I decided to use my time wisely by studying the manual for the Audient 4816. Phew, there sure is a lot to this console. I mean, look at all the connectivity, all the possibilities,
all the ins and outs, sends and receives, subgroups, EQ, DAW inputs, line inputs, 32 channels and
Well, while past Corey gets his brain unscrambled, let's go back to the future and hear a little bit about Lauren and her experience with the project.
I'm Lauren Passarelli. I'm a musician, multi-instrumentalist, recording engineer, producer, professor over at Berklee College of Music. I've always had some kind of studio setup, growing and thinking about how to set things up and how to route things in and out of the box to analog and back. And so I ended up getting this Audient 4816 because it's got a lot of connectivity, as they say. And I'm able to now do things in Logic or do things on tape. And you can see where there was a big mess because I had 6 quarter-inch patch bays trying to run to all this gear. And then I met Mr. Corey Zach, and we Zoomed on my podcast called Creative Conversations with Lauren Passarelli. Corey said, you know, I design studios. I have worked with recording engineers and got their spaces up to some real professional levels. He's been teaching me a lot this week. He's been with me all week. He's graciously decided to redesign this whole space, and now it looks so neat and cool because we have professional patch bass and DB25 connectors and many less cables on the floor. So I think this is going to be so much more reliable and clean. Even building, look at this. This is a very special Corey addition. You get Corey to build you a little slide-out drawer. I just think it's so cool that he does this kind of work so that we can all get up to a professional level. If you hire him, I don't know how many he's got. Like, you know, if he's cloned himself to make a couple of thousand Coreys to get around the country to help us all out because he's so good at all this. Thank you, Corey. It's just been a blessed, fantastic week, and I really appreciate you.
Upon arrival, Lauren had the equipment in the racks pretty well grouped, but after reviewing, we swapped some gear around to optimize workflow. Preamps in one, processing in another, things that aren't touched often below or behind. All this while keeping the layout of the patch bay in mind for later down the road. After everything was well placed, I started inserting all the IEC cables into their designated unit and power conditioner, neatly zip tying them together. To reduce the risk for power hum and interference, it is good practice to strap the power cables in an isolated area opposite of the audio cable runs. I then proceeded to roughly lay out all of the snakes across the floor, taking a quick inventory of all the runs. Work your way from the sidecars to the patch bay or vice versa. Leave enough slack on either end and spool the excess to connect later. Labeling everything from here on out will help ensure the rest of the process goes smooth. When connected to gear, the cable should naturally hang to the floor and have enough slack to bend around turns throughout their journey. Bundle as you go. Prevent walking all over cables during the job. You can later restrap when more wires are added. That's where it gets a little messy because you got like then a big clump of wires going. We repurposed Lauren's rack-mounted XLR patch box so she will be able to connect microphones and external gear within proximity to the console. With enough slack on both ends, I can now plug in all the XLR and TRS cables into the gear.
Good thing I hired the He-Man to help.
Lauren and I combined our powers and both wired up the console. It was great to put our brains together to process all the routing.
It's got a million options for connections. And we're trying to use as many as possible.
As Lauren tackled wiring up the tape machine, I took care of its digital successor, the Maag Studio, and installed this nifty mount for it. I hooked up the last D-sub to its counterpart, the Antelope Orion interface, and the Neuron rack of the studio was complete. After a majority of the equipment was connected, I made another pass to tidy up and zip tie the wires together. Just like mixing, it's all about the micro moves that add up to the big picture. Lauren upgraded to a double screen setup that would float above the console, so I needed to remove the soundproofing system to see where the wood studs were. This Owens Corning basement system is awesome to work with because all the soundproofing material is mounted between U-channel and held in place by molding strips, making it really easy to get behind the wall if need be. I know this doesn't have much to do with wires, but I thought I'd share the steps with you anyway. I pre-drilled the bracket holes through the panel to ensure the screws go in smooth, and then I screwed the brackets tight to the studs. Speaking of stud, check out this guy I found in the manual. Next, I installed the adjustable arms onto the bracket and then the back plate onto the monitors. I got them mounted, and they sure did look sleek above this console. I recommended installing patch boxes and Ethernet wall plates around the studio that routed back to the console. This way, Lauren could plug microphones or headphones within 10 feet of any given direction. Luckily, she has a drop ceiling in the studio, making it easy for us to run wires across the room. We ran 2 sets of DB25 and Ethernet cables, covering both sides of the room. Always make sure you tape up the end of your DB25s when you're making some runs through the ceiling or walls, so you don't bend any of the pins. Take your time and be sure not to damage any of the wires, as they can kink or scrape against obstacles. I tucked the wires in behind the insulation and then reattached the corner piece. After we had the wires run to their designated areas, I needed to trace and cut the acoustic panels to install the electrical boxes, which you'll see me passing the wires through. I connected the Ethernet cables to the Ethernet plate, which the headphone units will plug into.
Who's that guest man?
After we found a good spot to pass the DB25 cable through, a quick notch on the bottom of the molding and the Redco XLR patch box was ready to be attached. We utilized an old stage box Lauren had for the drum room. I wrapped it up neatly and then passed it through a pre-existing box in the wall, making this our last cable run. I tried fishing the wires behind the drums until
Booby trap in my studio.
Booby Trap Studios.
If you don't know where not to walk.
it made sense to reorient the drums so Lauren could have easier access miking them in the future. With our cable runs complete, it was time to finalize bundling all the wires together behind the equipment. The grand finale, connecting everything to the patch bay.
Then a big clump of wires going.
I must emphasize that it is very important to map out your signal flow in your patch bay prior to hooking anything up, much like I did here in this spreadsheet. This includes grouping gear that should be in close proximity, normaling patch boxes to mic preamps so you don't need to use so many patch cables, half normaling outputs so you can mult out to different equipment for parallel processing, and also how you'd like your grounds to connect to eliminate any potential noise. Luckily, this 96-point patch bay from Redco allows you to switch between all these settings. This can be a whole video in itself, so if you'd like to see me make a dedicated video on patch bay signal flow, let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. A quick bonus tip here: to relieve the strain of a heavy bunch of cables, install hooks on the back of your rack, enabling you to hang straps around the cables. As we add the final touches and test everything out, I want to thank Lauren for the opportunity to help her improve this studio. May she find inspiration and make great music in her new space. And may you find these tips helpful the next time you wire something up in your studio. Now, let's take a moment to appreciate all this amazing gear we had the pleasure to work with. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.